So today we're basically going to be learning how to make this beautiful dress, and as you can see, I styled it in 4 different ways, and you can see how the back of my dress is lapping so beautifully well. This and many more are what you are going to be learning in this video today. Welcome back to my channel. This is Sew with Pivot. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Thank you. So to make this dress, I made use of 3 yards of this crepe fabric. So first of all, I went ahead to cut out my flare. Now my round waist measurement is 34 inches divided by 3.14. I have 10.8 and I added 2 inches allowance, that's 12.8, and then that is what I marked here, and then I connected it like this. The next thing I'm going to do is to confirm if it will give me my waist measurement plus my zip allowance, which gave me exactly what I wanted. Next, I went ahead to mark my gown length measurement. I really hope you understood how I cut out this my flare. So the emphasis on this video is basically going to be on the upper parts. So I will go ahead and cut out my flare. And this is what we have. Our flare part is ready. Now to the upper part. So I'm going to be cutting the front part first of all. My shoulder to waist measurement, that's my half cut measurement, is 15.5 inches. So I added half inch allowance, 16 inches. So I marked out my 16 inches here. Next is my shoulder measurement, which is 14 inches divided by 2 is 7 inches plus half inches allowance, 7.5 inches. I came down by half inch shoulder slope. You can use 1 inch, is up to you, but I used half. From that point, I took my armhole measurement, which is 7.5 inches. Then I connected it this way. My neck width measurement is 4 inches. While the neck width depth is also 4 inches, and then after marking it out, I'll go ahead and connect it. So I also connect it to my shoulder slope. For my chest measurement is 38 inches divided by 4 is 9.5 inches. Then I went ahead to add 2 inches, making it 11.5 inches, and that's all we have there. My waist measurement is 34 inches divided by 4 is 8.5 inches plus 2 inches, 10.5 inches. My nipple to nipple measurement is 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5, and I added half inches. So what I marked here is 4 inches. 4 inches is what I marked here. Then from that point, I'm going to mark 1 inches to the left and 1 inches to the right. So basically what I marked out now is 2 inches width, and that's what we are going to be using for our belt. So I'm basically going to extend my belt to 40 inches. Okay, now I'll mark out what I have here. I have 3 inches, and I'm going to extend these 3 inches all the way down up to the 40 inches. So I'll connect it this way. Then I'll also extend these 2 inches of our belt width down up to that 40 inches. So that is to the length of our belt. Okay, so I'm trying to cross check the length of my belt. So I'm extending it to that 40 inches, and here we have it. This is 40 inches already. Okay, so like I said initially, our chest measurement divided by 4 gave us 9.5, and we added 2 inches, which gave us 11.5 inches. So our waist measurement divided by 4 gave us 8.5 inches. We added 2 inches allowance, which gave us 10.5 inches. Then we're going to come over to this our belt width and then measure out what we have here, which is 2 inches. So we're going to replace it here, 2 inches, and then we connect it to the upper parts. So I'm going to connect my armhole. Now on this part, I'm going to go up by half or 1 inches. So I used half inches, and then I'm going to connect it back to this our half length, and then we go ahead and cut. Now for this my front armhole, I'm still going to deepen it a little, because you know our front armhole is not supposed to be the same, right? So this is me, I just deepened it a little, and then here we have it. So I'm going to go ahead and continue cutting. Okay, so I'll go ahead and notch this side a little. That's our belt point. I'll just notch it a little, and here we have it. This is what we have. So I'm basically going to bring my belt together like this, and then I'm going to slant the edges, you know, just like we have it in belt. So the next thing I'll go ahead to do is to fold it this way, and then we sew from here up to this point. So this will be stopping. So I'm going to keep this aside so that we can cut our back bodice, and then this is the piece I have for my back bodice. I took my zip allowance, which is 2 inches, and then I measured it and connected it this way. From that point, I took my shoulder measurement. Remember, we used 7.5 inches, half inches shoulder slope, and then our armhole 7.5 inches, and then we connect it this way. My neck width is 4 inches, and for my back neck depth I took 1.5 inches, and I connected it this way. Our chest measurement, remember, we took 11.5 inches for the front. For our waist, we took 10.5 inches, and I went ahead to add 1 inches for that. That's 11.5 inches is what I measured for the back waist. So we'll go ahead and connect. So the next thing I'll do is to mark out my half bodice length, which we use 16 inches, right? So I'm just going to mark it out here, 16 inches. Now I want to work on the back so that it can lap well. So please listen and watch well. Now on my half length measurement for the back, I'm going to go up by 1 inches. So you can use 1 inches or 1.5 inches, but 1 inches is perfect for me. So I'm going to connect it in a slanted form back to meet this side. That is number 1. Secondly, I'm going to come on this zipper side too, and I'm going to take out 1 inches. Depending on how deep your back is, you can just take in half inches, but 1 inch is perfect for me. Now I'm going to mark out 9 inches from my shoulder to this point, and then I'll connect it to this place like you can see me doing. I hope this is well understood. Now I'm going to replace this 1 inches back to the side of my waist, and then I'm supposed to connect it back to my waist. I didn't do it at this point, but you will definitely see me doing it. So that thing I cut out, I'm going to replace it. So we go ahead and cut. So you can see me, I marked out the 1 inches I replaced, and then I'm cutting it out. So now that we have successfully deepened our back, that means our zipper allowance will change, right? So I'm going to mark out 2 inches here. This is my new zipper line, 2 inches, and then I'm going to go ahead to notch that point. Then from that point, I will mark my new dart line, which is 4 inches. I'll mark it out, then I'll go ahead and notch it. Okay, now for us to mark out our dart line, I'm going to measure 9 inches from my shoulder to this point. I will mark out 9 inches. This is 9 inches, so I'm marking it out, and then I'm going to connect it to a straight line down to my dart line. Then on my dart line, I'm going to take half inches on the left and half inches on the right, and then we connect it to meet that upper line. If you are enjoying this tutorial up to this point, why not give it a thumbs up? Subscribe to my channel, okay, so that I can bring to you more beautiful styles. Thank you. So let's continue. So we can now go ahead and hold it this way, and then we sew and stop here. So that's what I'll be doing for the two, and then I also finish up my neckline with a bias strip, and then this is what we have. I already sewed in my back darts, and then I finished up my neckline. So this is my front piece. You can see I already sewed in my belt. I finished up my neckline. I already used bias tape to finish my neckline. Then this is the belt. I already sewed it, and you can see how it is looking. So I'll go ahead and notch it just a little so that it can relax at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and turn out my belts. So after turning it, I'll go ahead and give it a good press, and then this is my back bodice. I'm going to go ahead and join my shoulder points. So this is what we have. So next I want to work on my sleeve. So I'm going to measure out what we have here, and what I have here is 22 inches, and then this is what I have for my sleeve. My sleeve length is actually 22 inches, but I marked out 24 inches here. So I came down by 4 inches. So from that point, I'm just going to curve out to meet this place. Please don't mind me, this is just my own lazy way of making sleeve, okay? Okay, so the next thing I'll do is to measure out here to see what it will give me, and then this gave me 11 inches. So 1 multiplied by 2 is 22 inches, right? So it's accurate. Now for the wideness of my sleeve, I have 10 inches, and I'm okay with it. So I'll just go ahead and cut it out. So I'll open up this place. So I'm going to fold in the hem, and then we sew. But meanwhile, it has elastic, right? So this is the elastic I'll be using. This 8 inches elastic, and I have 2 of them, so I'll put it in and sew at the same time. And I'm done, and this is what I have. This is my sleeve. I already inserted my elastic, so I'm basically going to be joining my sleeve to the main bodice. So here I was just trying to arrange my bodies, then I'll go ahead and then mark out my allowance, then we go ahead and sew. So after sewing, this is what we have. So we are almost done, right? So it's time for us to join our flay to the upper bodice. So remember, we cut our flay initially, so whenever you're cutting your flay, you have to make sure that it is the same measurement with the upper side, right? So I'm basically going to match up my flay with my waistline, and then we go ahead and sew. So when you get to this point where we have our belt, you gently sew. So I'm done joining my flay, and then this is what we have. Let me turn it over. You can see what we are having. You can see my belt looking so beautiful. Anyway, the next thing is for us to fix in our zipper. So I'm going to put it together like this. Then from that upper part, I'm going to come down with 21 inches, and then I mark it out like this. And then I'm going to mark out my zipper allowance, and then we sew from this point down, and then we add our zip, and we are simply done. Now can you see how the zip is lapping so beautifully well? Please, if you know, and I know you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, okay? Give this video a thumbs up so that you can see more beautiful videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.